My first guest is Steve Feld, and Steve is a business marketing strategist. He's also an author. He's an award-winning business management executive, and he loves his coffee. He's worked with over 600 businesses, assisting them in obtaining clarity, implementing a solid strategic plan, and getting positive growth results. He focuses on the foundation of the business to get the best results. We're going to be discussing today all things business. Do we want more money? Of course we do. We just love money. And, what's the point of being in business if you're not making money? Steve, welcome to the summit, and it's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
So what's your background and how did you get to where you are? And then we'll get into talking about, your message is money.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've actually owned and operated 7 different businesses. I've turned around 3 others, working with hundreds of business owners, helping them on getting that clarity. But most importantly, it's like what you said, kind of turning your business into a money-making operation. Not only that, setting it up one day that you want to sell because you're putting all the sweat equity in, only to find out you didn't build a business, you just built an income stream. So my goal is to help these business owners build a sustainable business that one day they can also sell and get the fruits of all their sweat equity. Because we saw it all in the pandemic, all those businesses that closed up, they were not a sellable business. So that's one of my big goals. And my other goals, I'm very passionate about seeing small business owner operators survive and build a long-term sustainable business, because I'm tired of seeing them go out of business.
Yeah, it's really important that we, do make moves towards a sustainable business, because that's, as you said, a lot of people, when the lockdowns started to happen, went out of business because they didn't either. I hate the word pivot, but I can't think of anything else at the moment. But, they could take their bricks and mortar business and move that online. I mean, which a lot of businesses did, especially, restaurants and cafes. But, a lot of others, they could have started selling their product online if they'd so chosen, but they just didn't have the pathway or the know-how how to do that.
And that's so true. I even work with a tattoo artist who just opened up his new business and expanded it. So he had his life savings in there. He had his house on the line because he mortgaged his house to get all the business up and running. The pandemic hit and he has yet to tattoo one person in his new shop.
Wow.
So I worked with him. It took us less than 3 weeks. Next thing you know, him and all his people, all his artists are swamped, busy, nonstop. 2020 was his busiest year, and he didn't open his doors once to a client.
Oh, that's amazing. That's the way to go, isn't it?
That's it. So there's other ways. It's because a business owner gets these like walls in front of them that block, and they shut down or they freak out and they don't know what to do. Whereas someone like me who's worked with multiple business owners in multiple industries, knowing there's another way, somehow, some way, let's use what we know. So just knowing his industry and knowing his license, what his license could cover, his professional license, that opened up so many different avenues for us. Once I showed him that, he was like, I can't believe it was this easy.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that it is a lot easier to move online than it is to run a bricks and mortar business. I mean, obviously still have your bricks and mortar, but honestly, you could, change the way you do things. As I said, cafes and restaurants did that. Ones that weren't previously doing takeaway or takeout, were had changed to that format because they could still keep their business going, keep staff employed, which was really important during that time. So yeah, and it's in most cases, I won't say all cases, but in most cases, it's a lot easier than it seems. And you're right, people put walls up and they put barriers in front of themselves when there's absolutely no need to. So how can we go about, making our message money?
One of the big things I see, especially with small business owners, entrepreneurs, their message to everyone is about them. And it shouldn't be. Always think of the great radio station with them, and it's what's in it for me. The me is your target market. So when I'm talking to small business owners, entrepreneurs, first you really have to identify who your target market is. What are their problems and how are you solving them? Because many times business owners think they're everything to everyone, and they're not. That's the biggest reason you're failing, because you're making your message so generic, no one gets it. So if you know who your target market is and you're talking to them, you really have to be clear on your message and what are their problems and how are you solving it. And don't think you're going to lose all this money because you're not talking to everyone. It's the opposite. If you're talking to everyone, you're not making money. But if you're talking to your market and solving their problems, you're making money. I mean, even us. If someone said, I have a restaurant, you're like, okay. And then what? That's what people are doing. But it's like, what kind of restaurant? Well, maybe you don't like, say, Italian food. And they're saying, well, I have an Italian restaurant. Well, I won't go there, but maybe, the next restaurant is for me. And from the business owner's point of view, it's like, well, you don't like Italian food. You're not my target market. I'm not going to try to convince you. So I don't even know how you got my message. Next. But business owners think I'm a restaurant and think they're going to be everything to everyone. And they don't realize that's not the case.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think, finding your target market is good. And even if you are a niche business, like, podcasting, for instance, and I market to everybody, but primarily business owners. So at least, I still have a target where I can, target who I want on the podcast, and then I'm targeting the audience that I want to cater to. So it's not that hard. I mean, podcasting is a niche in itself, and you need to target your market. Otherwise, you're not going to get the listeners that you want to make your podcast a success. So it's obviously the same when you're in business. You have to target that down to some degree anyway. I mean, you can't just throw mud at the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah, you don't get so niche that your target market is 1 out of every 10 million people on the planet. Come on, let's be a little bit more realistic. Okay, that's like a Lamborghini maybe. So, but Lamborghini knows their market, and they don't go outside their target market ever. They don't need to. They have enough business in their target market. So, I mean, just take a luxury item like that. And they know they're not for everyone. They know it, and they're not willing to bend over backwards for everyone. And they're not going to target to everyone. They target to their market. And that's how they're successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be successful, you have to, I guess, sacrifice everything, lots of things to be able to get to the place that you want to be. Because, you just, as I said, throwing mud at the walls and hoping it sticks is not going to work. And, you have to make sure that you're doing all the right things to get to where you want to be. And sometimes it takes some hard knocks and takes some hard decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I would take Lamborghini. They don't advertise everywhere. They don't advertise, period. There is one place where they advertise because they know that's where their target market is. And they don't care if anyone else sees it. They don't care that why don't I see Lamborghini ads everywhere? They're like, you're not our target market. Have a nice day. You want to buy a car? We got cars to sell. You can come on in, but we're not going to target you.
Well, I mean, who wants to see a Lamborghini on and drool over it and then not be able to buy one?
Yeah, they advertise in like yacht clubs. Well, they know the people who our members in yacht clubs can afford their car like there's nothing, but it's also a status symbol. They know their market inside, outside, upside down, and they stay true to it. Same thing with Tesla. Look at every kind of car out there, even a Volkswagen. They know their market and they target to their market.
Yeah, and research is really important. And I don't think a lot of us, and myself included, don't do enough market research to find out who our market is, who's going to buy our products, who's going to do whatever it is that needs to be done, and just get on with it, But there are ways of doing target marketing, and perhaps you could, go through some of those steps, Steve.
Absolutely. If you've been in business and are already having customers, the simplest thing you can do is just ask your customers, why did you buy from me? Whatever your product or service is. So I did this one time. At a certain point in time, I was targeting insurance agency owners and financial planners. And I had a full roster of clients. I was filled, couldn't take on another client. And then I realized not one of those clients was in my niche, not one. So I just asked them, like, what attracted you to me? What was on my message that attracted you? They all said the exact same thing. So I just took out insurance agency owners and filled it in with small business owners because that's who they were, and nothing changed. So I was marketing to a market I believed that I did my research on. And in fact, it attracted another market altogether. So all I did was change the wording. I didn't change anything else about my marketing. And it still attracted the people who I want to work with.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, I offer podcast editing services. And so anyone who's got a podcast, obviously, is my target market. But I would rather work with, small business owners who have a podcast rather than, big corporations who have people who podcast for their markets. I think because a lot of small business owners don't have the time or the staff to do all the behind stuff that a podcast takes. So why not just target small business owners of all types, and even I've been told to niche that down even further. But to me, it doesn't matter what type of small business you have. If you have knowledge to share and want to have a podcast, then you're my target market. So I think, for me, that's niching down far enough. You don't have to drill down unless you're a really specialized business who can only deal with, a certain genre of people.
Yeah, there's certain industries I don't work with intentionally because that's a personal preference, and I just have history in those industries. And there's other industries I won't work with because I have no base knowledge of those industries. And they're so technical and way over my head, like engineering firms. I don't attract engineering firms, and I don't go seeking engineering firms because it's our communication styles are not the same. Mm-hmm. I know that, they know that, so we stay away from each other. We're magnets, we repel each other. Yeah. But you know what? CPAs, small business owners, service-based, I don't go after manufacturers, but service-based small business owners, those are my people. I got them. I know what they're going through. I've been there. I feel their struggles. I know what it feels like to wake up at 2 a.m. worrying about, in a cold sweat, worrying about how you're going to make payroll tomorrow.
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely. There. Yeah. I get that totally. I think to me, you've niched down enough, and you're right about language too. I mean, for me to deal with an engineer, with the type of language that they use is far too technical for me, and I would just pretend I understood but wouldn't understand anything.
It's a different communication style, and I know my communication style won't work with that communication style. So no matter, we could both be saying the same thing, but the way we're both saying it, it doesn't sound like it, and it is. And I just know that, and I've talked to people who've owned engineering firms, and it's like, you're talking business today, but tomorrow you're going to talk like an engineer. So that's when we're going to start going like this. I need you to be a business person, not your engineering. Take off your engineering hat, put on your ownership hat. Then we'll talk.
Years ago, I used to work for a registered training organization, and my role was to go out to businesses and get their apprentices on the books, and then offer training solutions through this particular training organization. And I was dealing with an engineer, a lovely man, I must say, and he was an older gentleman, and thankfully, we got on really well. However, his manager was quite technically minded, and the language that he used to me was really difficult. Like he would use names for things that I had no idea, and I would have to keep asking him, and that was really embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't mean to put down engineers or anything negative.
No, neither do I. But I'm just saying, because
communication styles, and it's all good. But being a business owner, you really need to know your own communication style and the people you serve, your target market, their communication styles, because you're there to serve them. Remember that. It's not about you, it's about them. So you really have to understand that. And I have some friends who are engineers. So, but when I start talking to business, they're like, I don't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah,
so
same.
It works both ways.
It's the same. Yeah. I mean, we've just chosen engineering as a niche, but honestly, I mean, it's just something we've picked up. Nothing. We're not trying to bag them or put them down or say that they're odd or weird. So I just like to clarify it, and thank you for pointing that out as well, because they're not weird people. They're just weird.
I mean, I have coaches underneath me, and one of my coaches only works with lawyers, and the reason is he speaks their language. And he goes, I don't understand speaking to someone like who is just a business owner. And I go, lawyers own businesses. They are a business owner. He goes, but they don't see that way. So he knows that. So he goes, I only work with lawyers because I speak their language. I understand what their mindset is. And he attracts only lawyers. Anyone else that comes to him is not a lawyer. He's like, I won't work with you because you're outside of my realm and my deep comprehension. And
language is so important, isn't it? How you frame your marketing, it really has to suit the language that your target market uses. And
that's it.
And you can only do that through market research. I mean, you don't have, going out and asking questions, yes, it's very good, but you can just follow people and just see the language they use and the words that they use. Yeah.
And I mean, I have business owners who come to me, brand new business owners. I call it jumping the cubicle. They're leaving corporate world and they're becoming the entrepreneur. And they go, I really don't know what to do. And it's like, well, why did you jump? It's like, are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Because that's a big decision in itself. Others think, well, I made widgets at the widget factory and I can make a better widget. And it's like, you could, but you don't understand marketing, sales, accounting, and I keep going on. They're like, I don't know any of that. So you need to learn that language. You need to understand business because, you can make a better widget. You're still then the technician and you need to be the entrepreneur.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship really is a minefield. I left corporate too. I was going to start a human resources business. Built the website, did all the stuff, but didn't do my research because I lived in a small country town, and I thought, people will come flocking to me because there weren't a lot of human resource management. Oh, that was a total failure. I'd spent all these hours and all this money, which I didn't really have, and trying to build something, hoping they'd come. And that's how I thought, you build it, they'll come. But that's not the way it works. You really have to put the hard yards in.
You market it, sell it, and then you build it.
That's it.
That's what I tell a lot of, because I see entrepreneurs, they're putting all this money into the business, but they're not focused on marketing, sales, and knowing who their market is and talking to that market. they're being so generic, so they're wasting money on building a website, business cards, all these things. But it's like, so who are you targeting, and what are their problems, and how are you solving them? And they give me that look like, I haven't thought of that yet. I'll figure it out after I build my website. It's
What
like,
I said.
no, you're doing it
Exactly what I
backwards.
said. Yeah,
Yeah,
build it, they'll come, but they don't. And
they
I
don't.
spent a lot of years wondering why I kept building all these different widgets and no one would come and buy them. And then I worked out that, yeah, you've got to do the research first. You got to do the marketing first, and then build the empire.
That's it. My current business, I went out and got customers, clients first. My website was done 9 months later. I think I ordered my business cards maybe in my 10th month. I didn't need any of that. If I'm speaking to who I want to speak with and talking their language, I was attracting the clients and I was serving them in my best possible way. Not one person goes, let me look at your website.
Mm.
No
No,
one did.
no one cares about a website. And
No.
websites, I mean, unless you can build them yourself.
Yeah.
And that
I
takes
always
time
recommend getting
anyway, but
a
you don't need
pro
to
because
pay.
you get screwed up.
Yeah, but it still takes time.
It takes time.
But you don't need a website first of all. You don't need the business cards. You don't need the, car magnet or the stickers on your windows on your car, because they're not necessary. That's not the marketing that you need. The marketing that you need is going out and doing the research and finding out who your bloody ideal client is.
Yeah. Be clear on who your market is, and get out there and start palm pressing, picking up the phone, pounding pavement, whatever term you want to call it. You need to start talking to your market and delivering, solving their problems in exchange for money. Now, once you have the money coming in, okay, people are going to Google you, they're going to search you online, yes. But if you don't do the first thing, then no one will know about you. So
Yeah,
you got to get out there.
brand recognition is so important,
Absolutely.
to get out there. I mean, if you don't have a website, you don't have your business cards, brand recognition really is the next best thing, because word of mouth is a great referral.
Yeah, I mean, I have one of my coaches, he's like, well, I got to do all these things, and it's all the non-revenue producing items that's going to take them a year to do. I said, get a landing page, a 1-page on the web for free, and we'll put about you on there and a contact information. He goes, that's it. And I go, that's it. Now let's work on your message, your marketing message, and get out there and start going after your clients. He did that. He ended up with 12 clients within 5 weeks. All he had was one landing page, no business cards, no nothing else. And guess what? To this day, he's been in now 6 years later, no website, still has that one landing page and no business cards. And he
Well, the
doesn't need
landing page is a
any of it
business card, isn't it?
because he has the one page that he can change really easy, and it's free, and it works perfect for him because he talks to his market and they understand what he's saying, and he just delivers value and results. And people keep coming back. They're like, let's see your website. And he's laughing like, yeah, my page, go ahead. And his page is really nice. It really is.
You can make them as pretty as you want, but you don't need a lot. And
No.
And yeah, so you really have to think strategically about how you're going to spend your money, especially if you don't have a lot to spend.
That's it.
We had a lady on yesterday that talked about bootstrapping a startup, and some of the stuff, the information that she gave was really on point about the things that were necessary and the things that really weren't. So
That's
to
it.
make money, we have to, yes, think more strategically rather than and think outside the square or the box, because that's what entrepreneurship is about, is being a little bit different, a little bit quirky, so that you can stand out from your crowd.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of what they call guerrilla marketing. So it's marketing without paying any money out for it. but it's strategic. And that's where a lot of business owners, they're thinking, well, all the website and all these things and emails and newsletters and all that, that's tactical. The strategic is your message, who you're targeting, and really hone into that crowd and how are you serving them. That's what's going to attract people. Now take care of them, and guess what? You're going to get more and more and more. Yeah, the tactical does make up 20% of it. 80% should be strategic, but most small business owners, entrepreneurs, are 20% on the strategy and 80% on the tactical. And then they wonder why ads don't work and all these things don't work. Well, your message isn't resonating with anyone, and that's why it's not making you any money.
Yeah, I went and spent some money on a Facebook ad to try and get some people interested in taking my online course. I know the language is really good. I had like over 12,000 views of this ad, but not one person clicked. So there's still something wrong either with my landing page or the words in the ad itself. So I need to go and revisit that to find out why I didn't get the engagement, like the click-through rate that I was expecting. I got a few clicks, but I mean, with over 12,000 views, you'd think you get a few more clicks than, 5 or 6. So
Absolutely. I mean, I did a test with a group I was teaching. We had a group coaching program, and they kept saying, well, Facebook ads don't work. They don't work. And they were all on it. And I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to put up $250. I'm going to create this many ads, just one. And let's see the results. I go, it'll be one page, one graphic. That's it. No text, no nothing. And they're like, okay, yeah, well, you're going to waste your money. Within 7 days, 10,000 people went through and clicked through it and went into a landing page on the backside. I go, you're right. Facebook ads don't work. How did that happen? And they all go, what'd you do? And I go, my message was targeted to a certain market, and my ad was targeted to that market. So it wasn't to everyone. It wasn't generic. It was specific, and it attracted the right people to the right message, and they clicked through and they got a free offer out of the blue.
yeah, I think it's got, I mean, I think my graphic might have something to do with it. I think it's too much information on it rather than just having one graphic rather than lots of words.
Yeah, and sometimes I've done this A/B testing where just the image, the same message, same text, but the graphic itself, the image was different. And I've seen some that I thought would be, oh, this one's going to win, and it died. And meanwhile, the one I thought was going to die was like a winner. So
Yeah,
you got to play the game and you got to test it, because what you think is right isn't, you're not, you got to get in the head, you're the head of your client, the market.
yeah, that sometimes is hard because
It is.
you have a certain mindset that you want to how you're thinking about what it is that you're offering, but your potential client has another view about what the offer is. So it's really important, as you said, to A/B split to find out which one is the better option, because because
I mean,
as you quite rightly pointed out, you thought one was going to do well and didn't, and the one that you didn't think was going to do well did really well. So yeah, you've got to test these things and just keep trying until you get the message right. Don't do it once and give up. It's pointless.
no, it's a process. I mean, I've done it with direct mail postcards, direct letters, and you know what? It's amazing. Like, I did it with one postcard. I spent a lot of money on one. The other one I got for free for a trade. So it was cheap and cheesy, and I thought it was a really ridiculous message. Well, my high end one that I paid a lot of money for with graphic designers and copywriters, it had zero return. It was a negative, a loss on it. The cheesy one I got for free was over a 20,000% ROI.
Yeah.
I made so much money off of the cheesy one. So I went back to him. I said, can we do another ridiculous one of these cheap, flimsy cards? I want to see if lightning can strike twice. And they did it, and lightning struck twice. So we did it a third time. Lightning struck again. And I'm like, why am I paying all this money when the ridiculous that was on point with a shorter message, one line message, was better than the high end graphics that was so beautifully crafted?
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to work out why one works over the other. Even as you
Yeah,
said, it could just be the graphic, or you might have changed two words in it in your
yeah.
message, and it's sometimes it's just hard to work out which one's the better option. But you know just keep going with the one that works, and
Yeah.
just
You
keep
don't have to
trying.
throw a lot of money in it. It could be something really small. And I've done this with clients. It's like, hey, let's throw $150 into it and we'll test two different ads, and we've done it and one wins. Okay, let's get rid of the other one. Now let's test against that to another ad. And we're just little teeny increments. Next thing you know, by the third test, it's like we have a winner and we stick with it. And all of a sudden, there we go.
Mm.
Now duplicate, copy it and tweak, and let's keep on moving with it. And that's all we did. So we didn't spend a lot of money to get it going.
Mm. Yeah, and yeah, it's right. You don't need to spend an absolute fortune to get results. As much as people, a lot of business coaches are telling you you've got to do this and do that and spend this money, and sometimes you just really want to just take the back seat and just go with the flow and just
Yeah,
hope something sticks. I mean, but
that's
do
it.
it strategically. Don't just throw good money after bad.
That's it. And I mean, I've worked with clients who just like to talk to people. So we worked on his elevator pitch, worked on it to really target it in. And he would meet people. What do you do? If it wasn't in his world, he would like say, he had a B. Who do you know who does this in this room? And they would introduce him and he would do great with that. Whereas the other people are in the room, buy my junk, buy my junk, buy my junk. He was there asking questions and serving and showing value. And he was making so much money just by networking.
Mm.
Whereas all his people that he met at these things were like, why are you making money and I can't get a coffee time with anyone?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's just the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
When you've got something to offer that other people want, and
yeah.
sometimes it's just no rhyme or reason. It just works because it works.
With him,
Steve,
we did definitely strategy. It was very, very strategic.
yeah, I'm sure it was, but sometimes something just sometimes just falls in your lap for no reason, and
Oh,
and
take
sometimes it's
those.
really hard to work out what happened and why it
Yeah.
happened, but it's happened. So have a think about it. Now I want to get onto your books. The last count, it was 8 books. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, all the books I've written are actually for small business owners and entrepreneurs, because after speaking to them, it's like I see the same reoccurring things happening. Simple things like one of my books is about your financial statements. And I hear this from small business owners, entrepreneurs all the time. I hate accounting. I don't like doing it. I don't understand it. So I put in the book, here's your profit loss statement, your P&L, and here's how to just look at 3 different numbers. If you understand these 3 numbers, you don't have to worry about how the P&L is created and do all the accounting. Don't worry about that. Let your CPA do that. Just look at these 3 numbers. Now you know how to move the dials in your business to increase your profits. So you don't have to be a CPA or an MBA to understand all this stuff. I'm breaking it down in the simplest form and make it real easy for anyone to understand this stuff. Same thing with marketing. Social media is such a big quagmire nowadays. It's like, break it down in the simplest methods so it's easy for someone to understand, and then they can do it themselves. I want everyone to like take away something in their book that they can implement right away, that's not going to cost them money, that they can grow their business.
Perfect. I love it. I think everyone, where can people find them, Steve?
I'm on my website at bizcoachsteve.com. It's B-I-Z, Coach Steve, and on Amazon. They're all there as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Where else can people find you if they want to work with you or pick your brain?
Primarily on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'm under Steve Feld or Biz Coach Steve. I am easy to find. Please feel free to connect with me. I always do videos, podcasts, sharing resources, helping business owners. I really am passionate about seeing you guys grow your business and stop making it so hard for yourselves.
Mhm. Yeah, we tend to do that. We're a bit like, I don't know, I can't think of an analogy at the moment, but yes, sometimes we put the cart before the horse rather than the
Oh,
other way around.
I see it all the time, and I've been there. Don't worry. I mean, you think my first business was all joyride? It was a lot of struggle, and I put all my eggs in one industry, and only one industry, and that industry burst. It was the tech industry, so we had the tech bubble. It burst, and so did my business. But at the time, I wasn't wise enough to pivot and shift and do all these other things. And I lost everything on that business. So I opened up my second business 3 days later, consulting anyone left from the tech bubble who was still around. And that business went this way because I knew my market and I honed in on my message clearly. And I grew that and sold that company within a year and a half.
Mhm. There you go. See? Just follow Steve's example. And if you want to work with Steve, go and find him on his website or Facebook or LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve, it's been a pleasure. If you were to give someone any words of advice, what would they be?
It's one piece of advice I learned the hardest way ever because I was a stubborn business owner. And that was ask for help. So if you get stuck, the day I started asking for help and I got a coach, 45 days later, my whole world changed. My business was better. My family life was better. Everything was better because now I have someone in my corner helping me. And I thought at the time I could do it all on my own. I know what I'm doing. It's my business. And I was so wrong and so naive and had the blinders on. And to this day, I still have a coach because I learned we all need help some way, somehow. Just ask for help.
Yes, being an entrepreneur is not always um, sunshine and roses, and it can affect your mental health a lot. And asking
Absolutely.
for help, I mean, just even with the smallest things, just a bit of advice can, be of great benefit. So don't be afraid to ask because
Yeah.
it might save your life.
It's not embarrassing. Believe me, that's one of the things I thought of. It's not a hurt to your ego. That's one of the things I thought of. You have to put it all aside because if you want a better life, a better business, if you don't understand accounting and you ask a CPA for help, guess what? They're going to give it to you. No one's going to judge you or anything. Just get the help you need and whatever you need in your life or your business.
Absolutely. Steve, it's been a pleasure yet again. I'm so pleased that we've connected again, and I look forward to talking to you again really soon.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone has a wonderful summit and you gain a lot out of it from all the presenters. And please grow your business, improve your life.
That's it. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
That was a wonderful Steve Feld, and who is, you know, absolutely a joy to speak with. And yeah, he's so full of knowledge and an absolutely wonderful person. Now.